Recently, she escaped the city to become one of the most incredible coaches I've had the pleasure to know. And she's a deeply spiritual and gorgeous human being. I can't wait to co-host with her today. Ladies, Remi Olajoyegbe! Come here, girl. I'll give you the stage for a few.
Oh dear, nothing like a massive bout of nerves to bring on a hot flush. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I am Remi, and Sarah very kindly invited me to share a bit of my story as her co-host. And I got to thinking about why I feel so passionately about female empowerment and female leadership, and hence feel really identified with this network, and also what it means to be an agent of change and how me doing it in my own small way in the world really motivates and energizes me. And as I imagined myself standing here talking to this august group of super talented women at the vanguard of change and innovation, it dawned on me that it would be remiss not to mention my beloved late mother. She gets me every time. Sri Lakshmi Goswami Olajoyegbe. For she was a game changer and a pioneer in her own right, and a source of support and a huge inspiration to me and many women. She was a young woman from Brahmin caste in Assam, northeast India. And she came to England on her own in her early 20s, and very soon became the first Assamese woman to work for the British government. In fact, her final post as a civil servant was just over the road in Whitehall. And her courage enabled her to follow her heart. And she married a very handsome black man from Nigeria in West Africa. Now, may I just say to the African contingent, it's such an honour, ladies, to have you all here. Welcome. So she married him, despite the chronic social criticism and huge cultural expectations of her having an arranged caste-based marriage. Now, this was 1960s Britain, when racism, segregation, and immigration were at fever pitch. Imagine, Enoch Powell, Conservative MP, had recently delivered his speech on the rivers of blood, which was very inflammatory, famous speech. And it was not uncommon to see signs around the country pinned to the fronts of public houses and lodgings saying, "No dogs, no blacks, no Irish." Yeah, wow, indeed. Yet my parents enjoyed a 50-year-long marriage. And they had 2 children, of which I am one. And they named me Remi, or in full, Oluwa Remi Lekun, which means God consoles me. And it was a name given to me because it marked a bereavement in my family, which was in keeping with my father's Nigerian tradition. And my second name, Oruna, was to honour my mother's Indian lineage, and it means daughter of the sun. Such names would in time provide me with clues as to how I would need to navigate these 2 distinct polarities in my life: grief and light, with a fair amount of both, but that's a much longer story. And I began to realise that my very being represented bridging in some way between worlds, cultures, between states of being, industries and groups, often harmonising the opposites through facilitation and service. And now I coach people through key transitions in their lives. And so standing here, reflecting on my mum's life and service in a place steeped in such history is a very poignant reminder of how I, and in fact how we, all stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. We are the living dreams of those that came before us. And we can learn so much from each other's ancestors. I was recently sharing how much I've learned about visioning and strategy and leadership from Indigenous tribes and Native American elders who enshrined in their great law of peace that with our every deliberation, we must consider the impact of our decisions for 7 generations forward. And they had a process for this. So, ladies, I wonder what our ancestors would be whispering in our ears now. How would they be guiding us today? Well, I imagine they would be encouraging us to do our inner work, know thyself, look within, and really understand and work with our shadows, because there are some, let's face it, and our grief, as well as our light, so that we can really stand firm in our truth and let the pure essence of who we really are shine through. Maybe they would argue that as women, we've moved too far into the masculine, and they might urge us to lead with far greater emphasis on our feminine gifts and qualities. Nurture, vulnerability, collaboration, inclusion, as we shift from an old paradigm to the new. Maybe they would tell us to stop comparing ourselves with each other, right? And instead ask for the resources that we really need, or listen more deeply to each other so that we can move our worldview on from me to we. They'd probably be quite bemused at how we live our lives today in this fast-paced technological age. They might say, slow down, unplug, focus on greater self-care so we can serve more effectively, and tune in so that we can relish our duty as stewards of this beautiful planet and its flourishing diversity. And surely they would remind us all of our inner goddess and the power that we once held when we sat together as women in sacred circles throughout the ages. You have got to believe that our ancestors would look down on this gathering and thoroughly approve. Yeah. So being here in this incredibly historic setting, I invite all of us to take a moment to pause, to honour our past. It's not all down to us. Rather, we are the current torchbearers. Hopefully, leading with and sharing some of our wisdom as we remember who we really are, as well as illuminate new pathways for us to create a better world together. And the incredible potential in this room to do just that is beyond exciting. And I feel incredibly honoured and grateful and blessed to be here and to be part of it. Thank you.